Good afternoon to you. Mark Sutt with HurricaneTrack.com here with your hurricane outlook and discussion for Monday, June 15th, 2015. Let's take a look at what's going on out there. We have Tropical Storm Carlos in the eastern Pacific, and we also have Invest Area 91L in the Gulf of Mexico. And the very latest information from the National Hurricane Center, actually they have issued a special tropical weather outlook here. Basically, all of this wording tells us that the system is elongated, and I'm going to show you a satellite loop in just a minute. And it doesn't have a well-defined center just yet. They mention that right here. And so it is not being called a tropical cyclone, that is a depression or a storm at this time. Of course, it still has potential to develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm as it moves towards and then eventually over and into Texas. Now, what it is called isn't really going to matter because it is not going to be a hurricane, it looks like. And so it's more of a rain event, some coastal wind and flooding impact from the onshore flow, but the rainfall from this is going to be the biggest issue. This is a still shot, a single picture, visible satellite shot, and you can see there is some curved nature to the banding, but overall it's still elongated. There's not one singular concentrated area of low pressure, a common center, if you will. And you can see that a little bit better as I animate this. Sort of an elongated area trying to wrap in maybe right around here somewhere, a center trying to form, but you get the idea. There's a lot of deep tropical moisture that's going to be flung and hurled towards the Texas coast here, as well as southwest Louisiana. And because of the shape of the coastline and the fact that this will be moving basically perpendicular towards maybe Matagorda Bay, this onshore flow regime from southwest Louisiana down to parts of the Texas coastline means that areas from Sabine Pass, Bolivar Peninsula, maybe High Island, and parts of Galveston could see some coastal flooding impacts, kind of like a storm surge. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You're going to have this wind, onshore flow pushing the water towards that concave-shaped coastline, and you're going to have some minor coastal flooding, obviously right along the immediate coastline. Inland, though, the impacts are going to be more thunderstorm-related from possible downburst winds. And you can see every once in a while you get these little pop-ups of convection in here, these little thunderstorms that will pop up. Look right in here. You get one of those over the top of you, and those can dump very heavy rain, but you can also get some very strong downburst winds. And that's pretty much going to be it in terms of surge, coastal impact, and wind. Then once it moves inland, we're going to have a big rain event. So let's take a look at the track forecast from some of the models here, since it's not a named storm yet, a depression or a tropical storm. There's no official track forecast, so we have to look at the computer guidance. And we're seeing a couple of different things here. One, some of the models, the more simple models, taking it off towards West Texas over time, whereas the more advanced models, I guess you could say, are trying to bring it in more towards Matagorda Bay, Palacios area, maybe near Victoria, just inland, and Lake Jackson would be up on the east side of this, Freeport, Clute, all of you all in the nearer to where the center is going to make landfall, but to the right of this, or to the north and east, still a lot of moisture, a lot of onshore flow. So the center forecast from the model is generally taking it up and around basically this big area of high pressure that is sitting over the southeast United States here, a very large heat dome, if you will, temperatures in the I-95 corridor in the hundreds. So you have this huge area of dense, hot, high pressure, and our disturbance here, 91L, going to ride up and over that and eventually bring some heavy rain probably for parts of the mid-Atlantic states, Maryland, West Virginia, Northern Virginia, I mean, heck, all the way to Kentucky. I mean, pretty well anywhere along this track. And the last graphic that I have coming up in a few minutes will outline this for you. Intensity guidance, most of the simple statistical models indicating modest tropical storm intensity, and then it moves inland and starts to die off. The more, again, sophisticated dynamic models saying not much intensification at all. So generally speaking, we're looking at a weak tropical storm from the wind and surge impact, but a very moisture-rich tropical storm probably in terms of the impact from rain. And a big part of that is the sea surface temperature anomalies. There's a lot of warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. We'll look at this closer in just a moment. First, on the broader scale, very substantial El Nino developing. In the Pacific, you have this cold water signature. In the Atlantic, all of the above normal water temperatures are up in the subtropics or displaced out of the main tropical development region here between Africa and the Lesser Antilles. Doesn't really matter much right now because it's June, but it will come August and September. But where it does matter is, as I was alluding to, this is the area where our disturbance is located in the Northwest Gulf, and these water temperatures in here are running maybe a degree Celsius above the long-term average, as they are off the East Coast as well, but nothing to worry about over here. So there's a lot of very warm, moist water. Well, of course, water is moist. That's just funny. There's a lot of moisture available because of that warm water, is what I was trying to say. And that's going to get wrung out very efficiently from this system. Now, let's take a look at the GFS. This is the very latest global forecast system model. And this is at the 500 millibar level, up about midway into the atmosphere, maybe the lower third or so, about 20,000 feet up. Roughly the steering layer for something like this. And you can see the outline of this big old ridge of high pressure very easily right here over the southeast United States. And if you think of it as contour lines in here, I'm just going to kind of draw some in to make my point. That's like a mountain on a topographic map. And so your big mountain of air here is very dense, and this represents our tropical disturbance right here. And it can't just go into this huge heat dome. Doesn't work that way. That's how the physics are on this planet. And so it has to go around that ridge of high pressure, and that's what it's going to do, it looks like, over time. This is valid about right now. This is tomorrow morning. So this will be valid Tuesday morning. Again, you see the outline of this ridge very nicely. Here's our disturbance. And this is interesting. It's represented with an X here. You don't have much vorticity. None of these colors showing up in the model for our system, meaning that it is not reaching up into the atmosphere very high. And so that tells you it's not very strong. It doesn't have an influence above a certain amount of the atmosphere. And so that's a good sign. A well-developed hurricane would be a very round appearance to the vorticity signature, and then darker and darker colors in the middle of it. And we'll probably see that at some point in the Atlantic this year, somewhere, but not for this system right now. Then at 48 hours out, we see, I think, we're at 36 hours. I'm doing it every 12 hours. It's inland over Texas here. And again, it's going around the ridge of high pressure, so no chance for this to curve and come over towards the Florida Panhandle. And this ridge is not so strong and huge like this, that this gets steered into central Mexico, for example. This is locked and loaded and ready to come in towards the Texas coastline. And then finally, by 72 hours, that ridge still holding strong. Boy, you folks here in the Carolinas and Georgia, very, very hot temperatures for sure, even up into Virginia. And then as a result of that high pressure, our system comes from the Gulf inland and then riding up and over that ridge, and then eventually it'll come out over the Atlantic. And you can see that in the 7-day precipitation forecast. This is your accumulated, actually I guess this is 5-day QPF, your quantitative precipitation forecast. When everything's all added up, this is what the models are showing for the next 5 days. And you can see this perfect ring rimming around this big area of high pressure anchored over the southeast. And so what it comes down to is, yes, Texas, western Louisiana, going to get a lot of rainfall all the way up the I-45 corridor, maybe over to I-35 towards Oklahoma City and vicinity. A lot of rainfall, Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, maybe southeast Kansas, Missouri, and that just follows right on up through Indiana, Ohio, parts of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and maybe even parts of the Northeast, where you could use a little bit of rainfall at this time because things have been pretty dry lately. So that's what's happening with what will probably become Tropical Storm Bill. Has a little bit of work to do before it gets there. Now let's take a look real quick at what's going on with Carlos in the eastern Pacific. Luckily, it's pretty much self-destructing, sitting over some of the same water and not moving very much. And you can see it's just kind of withering away, which is great news for intensity. Nevertheless, it still has some heavy rainfall associated with it. And the good news here, too, because it is upwelling the water underneath itself, the Hurricane Center no longer forecasting it to become a hurricane again, and it stays just offshore the Mexican coastline. However, as with our system headed for the Texas coast, this could still bring some very heavy rain for portions of southwest Mexico and needs to be taken seriously because of that. But luckily, it has, like I said, kind of self-destructed, because when they sit over the same area of water and they move slowly, they upwell that water. They churn it up, and it brings up cooler water from underneath itself, these tropical storms and hurricanes especially, and they basically self-destruct. They remove the heat source from underneath themselves. So there you go. All right, well, that is it for me for today. A lot going on out there. I'll keep an eye on what's happening with 91L. Eventually probably become Tropical Depression number 2, if not straight to Tropical Storm Bill. And I'll keep posting on our social media and the blog at hurricanetrack.com. You can follow this in our app as well. Take it anywhere you go. Hurricane Impact. Get that on the App Store if you haven't already. And keep up with what we're doing. Anytime we post something, it goes right into the app almost instantly. And as I said, I'll keep you up to date on what's happening out there in the Gulf. Again, Mark Sudduth, hurricanetrack.com. Thanks as always for tuning in. And I'll talk with you again tomorrow.